Good, happy Saturday morning, August 17, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Loudoun man who previously helped woman charged with sexually assaulting her. Police say woman thought she recognized man wearing ski mask. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
According to this police report, in the early morning hours of August 14th, a Loudoun woman woke up to find a man on top of her wearing a ski mask. The man telling her to be quiet as he put duct tape over her mouth. But the woman fought back, and the suspect ran off, leaving behind the duct tape and a Rite Aid pharmacy card. When police asked if she had any idea as to who the suspect may be, the alleged victim recalled a time when a neighbor helped her break into her own home about a year ago. That neighbor identified in the report as Michael Pecan. During a search of Pecan's home that morning, officers found a black ski mask under his bed. The Rite Aid card recovered from the scene was also registered to the 25-year-old. An arrest warrant was issued the next day. He is now charged with aggravated felonious sexual assault, burglary, and simple assault.
That's scary. That's scary.
Patricia Soto has lived on the same street as the suspect and victim for about a year and says there's never been problems here before.
I love the neighborhood. I do. I love the people. I'm happy here.
But she says news of the attack is unsettling.
That scares me a lot. It's going to make me more aware. Lock my doors or lock my windows.
And now Pecan was originally taken into custody on a probation violation. However, tonight it is unclear as to what previous charges that stems from. Reporting live in Loudoun, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Democratic candidate Yang hopes his ideas take hold in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Springs is New England's newest adventure park, featuring an aerial challenge course, all-new guided zipline tour, water park, water challenge course, and off-roading. One location for one low price. Minutes from Manchester and the Seacoast. Visit CandiaSprings.com.
With a spring in his step, businessman Andrew Yang works his crowd, hoping to skip ahead to the front of the Democratic field.
It's up to the people of New Hampshire to take a different vision of the rest of the country as soon as possible. First, a genuine understanding of the scope of our problems, and then second, real solutions.
Solutions that he says are the opposite of what President Trump offers.
To me, it was a massive red flag for our society, that our country was so desperate that we actually elected a narcissist reality TV star to be our president.
Friday night, the presidential candidate took questions at UNH School of Law for an ACLU discussion on civil liberties. Granite Staters are curious about his proposal to guarantee $1,000 a month to U.S. citizens.
And the first time you heard that, you were like, ha ha, that's a gimmick, that's too good to be true. But this is a deeply American idea that's been with us since our founding.
Yang was pressed on a big issue locally, bail reform, and what to do about mass incarceration.
So number one, we have to get rid of private prisons that have a profit motivation. Number two, we have to get rid of the punitive cash bail system that ends up criminalizing people for being poor.
His popularity is rising, and he just qualified for the third Democratic debate next month. Yang hopes his bold ideas take hold in New Hampshire.
So with your help, we can move the country not left, not right, but forward.
Tonight, Yang also met with voters in Plaistow. Tomorrow, he'll be in Nashua, Londonderry, New Durham, and Northampton. And he has 3 events on Sunday.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Busy weekend ahead for presidential candidates. Several candidates try to break through in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
For 10 years, New England homeowners have trusted Century Roofing. We get the job done right at a fair price. Call today to arrange a free estimate and to reserve a spot for your 2019 roof replacement. Century Roofing, we've got you covered.
President Trump rocked an arena of 12,000 people in Manchester for his first 2020 campaign rally in New Hampshire. In the White Mountains, Elizabeth Warren drew a crowd equal to almost 2/3 the population of Franconia. This busy mid-August week could be a primary turning point.
Are you running for president?
What inadvertently started for John Hickenlooper at Roby's Country Store last year in Hooksett is now over, as the former Colorado governor has left the presidential race to run for the U.S. Senate and rejoin in the campaign trail after tragedy in El Paso. Beto O'Rourke is looking beyond Iowa and New Hampshire.
We have to make sure that everyone's story is brought in, and if we restrict ourselves to only being in the early nominating states, we will have failed that incredibly important task.
Mega events, dropouts, and campaign strategy shakeups aside, other candidates trying to break through are staying the course. While Montana Governor Steve Bullock has focused much of his attention on Iowa, he says anyone who wants to become president can't work their way around the first-in-the-nation primary.
The early states take a large field and narrow it down. And that's just like folks here in New Hampshire really take this seriously.
Michael Bennett, who worked alongside John Hickenlooper in Colorado, counseled his former boss as he exited the race. We asked the senator if he thinks there could be more departures in the weeks ahead.
I think the DNC has used a set of criteria that basically has turned us all into money launderers of one kind or another, unless we were really well known at the beginning of the process. And this is really early to be winnowing a field.
Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your 2020 New Hampshire candidate tracker for August 17th, 2019. And there are a lot of candidates that are in New Hampshire today. First candidate we're going to tell you about, Michael Bennett. He has 3 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, speaking at New Durham Democrats Peaches and Politics fundraiser in New Durham, New Hampshire at 1:30 p.m. His second event, meet and greet in Nottingham, New Hampshire at 4:30 p.m. And his third event is Milford Democrats potluck dinner at the Unitarian Universal Church in Milford, New Hampshire at 7 p.m. Cory Booker, he has 4 events today in New Hampshire. His first event is meet and greet at the Red Arrow Diner in Manchester, New Hampshire at 8:15 a.m. in just a little bit. His second event is house party in Portsmouth, New Hampshire at 10:30 a.m. His third event, headlining Hampton Democrats Annual Community Picnic in Hampton, New Hampshire at 1:50 p.m. And his fourth event is house party in Salem, New Hampshire at 4 p.m. Governor Steve Bullock has a house party at the home of former state rep Senator President Selvina Lesnin in Concord, New Hampshire at 11:30 a.m. Julian Castro has 2 events happening today in New Hampshire, attending campaign office opening in Epping, New Hampshire at 11 a.m. His second event, hosting coffee event with housing advocates at Crossroads House in Portsmouth, New Hampshire at 1 p.m. and meet and greet in Rye, New Hampshire at 5 p.m. Bill de Blasio, he has 4 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, marching in Londonderry, Old Home Day Parade in Londonderry, New Hampshire at 10:15 a.m. His second event, attends meet and greet with Londonderry Democrats in Londonderry, New Hampshire at 12:30 p.m. And his third event is attends New Durham Democrats Peaches and Politics event in New Durham, New Hampshire at 3 p.m. And his fourth event attends House Party in Laconia, New Hampshire at 6 p.m. John Delaney, he has 5 events happening today in New Hampshire. His first event, marching in the Londonderry Old Home Day Parade in Londonderry, New Hampshire at 10:15 a.m. His second event, attending Dunbarton Old Home Day at the Town Green in Dunbarton, New Hampshire at 12 p.m. His third event, barbecue meet and greet with Ware Democrats at Moody Pond Marketplace in Ware, New Hampshire at 1 p.m. His fourth event, meet and greet at West Street Ward House in Concord, New Hampshire at 3:30 p.m. And his fifth event is Town Hall at the Upper Valley Senior Center in Lebanon, New Hampshire at 6 p.m. Andrew Yang, he has 4 events happening today in New Hampshire. His first event, Canvas Kickoff at Yang 2020 Nashua office in Nashua, New Hampshire at 10 a.m. His second event, meet and greet at Londonderry Democrats office in Londonderry, New Hampshire at 12 p.m. His third event, speaking at New Durham Democrats Peaches in Politics fundraiser in New Durham, New Hampshire at 2:30 p.m. And his fourth event, House Party at the home of Steve Marchand in New Hampton at 6 p.m. And those are all the candidates that will be in New Hampshire today. Signs of recession worry Trump ahead of 2020. President Donald Trump is warning of an economic crash if he loses re-election, arguing that even voters who personally dislike him should base their ballots on the nation's strong growth and low unemployment rate. But privately, Trump is growing increasingly worried the economy won't look so good come election day. And now let's take a look at Cook's Corner Almond Cake. Let's take a look at this video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cherry.
And Cook's Corner is on the road. We are here in Salem at Barron's Major Brands, and we have with us our very dear friend, Una Williams. What are you making for us today?
Well, dessert, of course.
No?
No, not of course. I think the viewers know I have celiac disease, but I have no choice but to follow a gluten-free diet because of that. But I keep saying most real food is naturally gluten-free until the manufacturers mess around with it, and we'd all be a lot healthier if we went back to eating real food, or the clean eating as the buzz name is.
Absolutely.
So the dessert I'm doing today Yes, it's gluten-free because it's with almond flour, but that also means it's paleo. I've done it with butter, but if you do it with coconut oil, it's cholesterol-free, and it's dairy-free. So I figure, you know, the cholesterol-free helps all of us. But then, of course, you've got chocolate and cream on top.
And we've got to have our dessert.
Yeah, but, you know, you do a bit better one way, you can have the bad stuff the other way. So this is literally almond flour, and you can get that at Trader Joe's, you can get King Arthur, Bob's Red Mill, Costco, they all carry almond flour.
Okay.
Butter, eggs, the bit of sugar, the almond extract, baking powder, and literally, I'm not going to do all of it because of the noise, but literally, thankfully in the warmth, the butter's lovely and soft, so it beats up wonderfully. So I'm going to stop it because of just the sheer noise. You're going to beat it for a couple of minutes until it's lovely and creamy looking, and that's it. You throw everything in, you beat it. I put it, you can see it's roughly an 8-inch size pan that I line, put it in a 350 oven for about 20-25 minutes. It's going to be lovely and soft and pale golden brown. And when I do parties, or even at home, it's much better to do a single layer and put it out because people are going to cut the same size chunk from a single layer as from a 3 and 4 layer. Which, so, you know, for clients, I'll do multiple and you ping them out.
That's a veteran
so then
move right there.
On top, it's cream and chocolate melted together. There's raspberry jelly underneath, almonds and fresh raspberries. It was one of my recipes for Food and Wine magazine where I was cover wrapped last year. It's one of the favorite recipes I do. It will be on my website and Facebook, Gluten Free Cooking with Una. I've done it with chocolate. I've done it with cocoa in it and coffee in it and mango and ginger. It's a master recipe. You can do so many different things with it.
How many different recipes do you have on your website?
I don't know.
That many.
Yeah.
But but it's a great resource for folks who do have celiac.
And not just for folks with celiac, it's real food.
Yes.
I mean, I write for National Telegraph once a month. I write for Beyond Celiac, which is the National Foundation for Celiac Awareness, for over 8 years with recipes. One of my recent recipes was just a mango cream, a mango lassi, a cold cherry soup. You know, salad niçoise. This is real food. We'd all be healthier if we went back to real food.
And that's key when you're eating.
Yeah.
Especially so you can eat a little bit more.
Well, you know, they're saying that the current generation isn't going to live as long because of all the chemicals and junk in the food, which none of our bodies need. I know I rant and rave about it, but that's why I talk on para food and GMOs outside, because if we went back to clean eating, we'd be healthier. And this is so good.
Well, that's the best part. We get to try it.
Yes,
thank
absolutely.
you so much for your time.
Me.
Stay with us.
Okay, that is Cook's Corner almond cake. Looks very yummy. Very cool. And now let's take a look at some events happening today in New Hampshire. New USS Soccer Referral Training, 8 o'clock a.m. at Rochester Community Center. History Alive, 9 a.m. at Historic Hillsborough Center. Liberty House Ride, 9 a.m. American Legion Henry J. Sweeney Post. Spalding Youth Center, Faces Class Spalding Youth Center at 9 a.m. Car Show Seeking Registration, 9 a.m. Walmart. Salute the Troops 3 Car Show, 9 a.m. at Ames Bush Brewery. Summer Physics Fair, the Holiday Inn at 9:30 a.m. Cruise into the Wright Museum of World War II at 10 o'clock a.m. Greenlee Park Art Show, 10 o'clock a.m. in Greenlee Park. And our Big Backyard Series families, 10 o'clock a.m. at Prescott Farm Environmental Educational Center. And those are events happening today in New Hampshire. And that does it for this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye.